DA's going to get his bath here. Toronto has their victory on week 1. The Blues have come in and defeated the Waterloo Warriors 31-29.
Welcome in and welcome back. What a week 1 we just had, Connor. Holy hell.
Oh my goodness. Handful of good games. About all of them, if we could say so.
It's how it usually happens in the OUA. But Connor, we got a lot of things to talk about because not only did we have a full slate of 5 games, but we had 5 really entertaining games and a lot of discussion points, I think, that can be followed throughout the whole season. So should we start chronologically or should we just start with the biggest and best news, which kind of involves me?
Yeah, let's start there. Let's do it. Let's start there. You alluded to it, you teased it. Let's get it. Let's get after that one.
Okay, well, the University of Toronto is 1-0 because the DA era has started off hot. And not like how you would think it would start off for a defensive coach, but hot in the sense that a first-year starting quarterback, I guess he redshirted last year, Caleb O'Donoghue, came out and went to town.
Oh my God. Game.
So we're talking 70% completions, 200 and let's call it 70 total yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, some people say, well, both touchdowns were under routes. Okay. Did you see how they got down the field?
Their scores.
They got down the field by him extending plays and making throws, and they ran the ball at a good clip. But Caleb O'Donoghue, OUA Player of the Week for week 1 offensive. First
100%.
start.
We'll spoil that one.
First
what a
start,
debut for the young guy.
First Player of the Week, award of the year. And you know what? We were kind of like, there's a lot of candidates. And then that happened on Sunday night, and we both went, whoa.
Whoa, there it is.
So I thought Waterloo looked good. I think the Caban it's going to be a storyline to follow all year, but Toronto, a collection of talented receivers. They ran the ball effectively. Quarterback extended plays. Solid on specials. Solid on defense. We'll see what happens this week against Guelph, but looks like a much improved Toronto squad, despite not having a whole lot of new talent on the roster, right? Like it's a lot of the same guys.
Yeah, man, it was a really exciting game. O'Donoghue had a great debut for the Varsity Blues under center. Congratulations again to Coach DA for picking up the first win of the new era for the Varsity Blues at your old stomping ground. So that one's got to feel good. But you mentioned the Guelph Griffins.
Hold on. I got one more thing for Toronto.
All right, one more point.
Kinsale Phillip. We talked to DA about this off air, and I said, what was with the switch? Because we didn't want to spoil it before the first week. I said, what was with the switch to DB? And he said, Kinsale he wants to play football at the next level. And, you know, it's a big thing for Kinsale to do that. And he thinks he has the best chance at DB. Connor, he looks smooth at DB, you know? The rest of them look like veteran starters, but Kinsale looks strong. So excited to see him kind of develop on the other side of the ball.
He did, and that's going to be a fun storyline to keep an eye on this OUA season. We're really looking forward to that one. Now, I mentioned Guelph before. I want to move on to this one now because this was a heck of a football game. 38-25 win for the Guelph Griffins. Storyline in this one for me, the quarterback play for the Guelph Griffins. They were rotating 2 guys in Tristan Aboud and Marshall McCray. Marshall McCray, what a damn football game from this young man. Throwing touchdown, went 3 for 5 for 65 yards through the air with his legs, had 82 and another touchdown on the ground. And not to be outdone by Tristan Aboud, who went 8 of 16 for 150 and a touchdown through the air as well. The Guelph Griffins were absolutely rolling on both sides of the ball in this one. Defense played very, very well in this game as well. This is another team under a new era, the Soraya era in Guelph, and boy, is it off to a heck of a start. Those Guelph Griffins looked hot to open the season.
Yeah. And when Coach Soraya talked to us, he said, you know, it's not going to be Tristan or Marshall. it's going to be Tristan and Marshall. And guess what? It was a whole lot of both, and they both shone like the stars they are. I think Marshall McRae's legs were the difference in the game, quite frankly. The ability to keep Carleton's defense off balance, and they threw enough passes with him that when he comes in, you're not selling out for the run. And with Tristan Aboud back there, they still ran the ball. It was just through Malloy and Sargent, and that two-headed monster that's now reared its head. So the two-quarterback system usually doesn't work for teams. For Guelph, I think it's going to work, and this is a very talented team, a very athletic defense, and with Coach Barry's scheme, why can't they push this further into the season?
And I want to give a quick welcome back on the defensive side of the ball to Anthony Mertuzzo. Heck of a game for him. Sealed it with a late interception. Big moment. A big moment for him in this one. Heck of a ball game from the Guelph Griffins once again. Where do you want to go next? Because we had some pretty good games left on this week one schedule we haven't talked about.
Let's go to the big one, I guess, with the Queens Windsor, because there's quite a bit here. One, I guess, being the multiple interceptions thrown by Alex Freakin. When we say multiple, it's 4. 4 is the exact number. Now, I will say, for the 4 interceptions, can we kind of be honest about these 4? One, the Istvan Aceto Jobsy one, fantastic read by the corner.
Yeah.
Queens had been working that scheme all week. Freak made the wrong read, threw the pick as a result. But some of the other picks, like 2 of them, one was a diving one by Robert Springer. All 3 are by Robert Springer, the other 3. One was a diving pick. He made a great jump on a ball. Should Alex have thrown that ball rolling out to his right, trying to extend a play? Maybe not as advised, but really good play by Springer. The other one, right before a half, trying to create something. You'll live with that one. And then the other one, he had rolled out away from early pressure, which is something I'd like to talk about a bit more. And he threw another errant pass on the roll. And those are plays that, you don't think that those unscripted plays are a part of Alex Freakin's game. He can create with his legs, but he was trying to force, almost, it felt like, since they went down early.
Yeah, a little bit to me. I think that's a pretty good description of the Queens' offensive struggles in this Windsor game. Now, the one thing I guess that they can take solace in is Jared Chisari was absolutely rolling in this one. 21 carries, 160, called 170 on the ground. Queens was able to run the ball really well. Even Vreekin, found the end zone on a rushing touchdown down in the red zone.
Yeah,
but Chisari in this one, man, holy goodness. Nice to have him in the backfield if you are the Queens Gales.
Yeah, and they pressed it early. It was the same system that they had ran for years past. New name at the top of it, but similar idea. But when they're pressing that run and trying to wear on opponents, but they're down 2 scores, that's when I think Alex gets in his head like, okay, maybe I have to press a bit more when it is my time to throw on 2nd and long, or when we try to catch a defense sleeping. And 50% completions, 4 picks, under 200 yards. That's a really rough day. But Connor, I want to kind of flip this coin, because if we say that Windsor threw for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, you'd think that they revolutionized their offense in the offseason compared to last year, right? And that's not a shot at Windsor, but it's how they played last year, right? Like, they were usually around 100
They were going to
yards.
dominate through the ground. 100%.
Yeah, and they were gonna run the ball with 30 carries. Well, a lot of the time, Danny Skelton would drop back and go, I got this, and just take off running, and it worked. It worked.
It did, man. It did. The Windsor offense was really impressive for me in this one, especially Danny Skelton, like you mentioned. He had 100, about 150 through the air, went 14 of 25, but really all he needed to do is everything that he had to do. And he ended up with 2 touchdowns in this one, but it was really just find your guys when they're in space and let them go make plays. And then on the ground, we know what they're going to do. Windsor's going to run the ball really well, and they
Yeah.
did do that. So I think Windsor did a really good job controlling this game offensively with allowing Danny Skelton to just hit his guys in space and let them go make plays, and then dominating with the run game like they do. And then defensively in this one, they got a heck of a lot of pressure. They ended up with 2 sacks in this game, but that front seven, oh my goodness, are they going to make some noise for the opposing quarterbacks to have to deal with? And we saw that, Vreek had to throw some ill-advised balls, make some things happen with his legs, but credit where credit is due to this Windsor front seven, because they made him kind of bounce on his toes a little bit back there.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we talked about this preseason. The big question for Queens is, can the O-line turnover sustain the high level of play? It looked like they had a lot of O-line turnover in week 1. Now, it's not being said that every week it's going to be like that, but I think that Windsor brings a different level of pass rush, and it's going to be tough for teams to handle.
All right, continuing back on down the 401 as we make our way back to the nation's capital, stopping in the Hammer, McMaster hosting the Laurier Golden Hawks, Taylor L. Gersma and co. going to work in that one as they kick off this season 1-0, picking up a 31-14 win over a Keegan Hall-led McMaster Marauders. What'd you see in that one? What'd you like in that one? Obviously, Taylor L. Gersma was rolling in this one, but not in the way that some people might think.
To me, it was the Keegan Hall show, and he's as advertised again this year, Connor. They're gonna live and die with him throwing the ball all over this park. And
yep,
there was a throw, I think, on their first or second drive. I know Justin Duncan put out the throw of Elgersma hitting a back shoulder fade, but to me it was Keegan Hall. He stood in, threw one, took a monstrous hit, and the ball went back shoulder, caught, and they were able to score that drive. Keegan Hall can throw the ball everywhere he wants, and if they keep the balance with Braden Kelly, who put 100 yards in on the ground, I think that they're going to be able to score with teams. Now, you say, well, they only put up 14 points. Who are they scoring with 14 points? Laurier's defense is a different beast. And when you have an offense like Laurier's, you're going to start stretching and trying to hit those home runs more often, because you know that Taylor and co on the other side are going to do just that. Really happy with McMaster's offense. I think that they're going to be a good story to watch all year. But you want to talk about Taylor Algersma, so let's talk about him.
I want to talk about the Laurier offense as a unit, I guess. But yeah, Taylor was certainly impressive in this one. 200 plus yard game. 2 touchdowns on the ground with his legs, making things happen. When things weren't there through the air for him, and I guess as this game went on, I say things weren't there through the air for him, and he goes for 200 plus. But when things weren't there in the air, and there were times when it wasn't, he had to go make plays with his legs. He showed that he could do that. 43, almost 50 on the ground. The two touchdowns in the red zone. Tanner Nelms in this one was more than impressive along the Laurier offensive unit for me in this one as well. 140 on the ground, had the touchdown, had the long of 22, was going for like over 6.5 a carry, and he looked strong on all 21 of his rushing attempts.
Yeah, and Tanner Nelms, more than Avery Scott last year, was trying to bounce it out, trying to hit the home runs, but I think the nature of their run game, where they've got the pulling guards and they're going to create those gaps where he can naturally get out to the edge, combined with the bus, the GRT, Darian Bassett-Hayden, and the guy who I think was the big surprise, I mean, mostly in the return game, Connor, but Tayshawn Jackson. Yeah. He is electric. And if Tanner's the middle and the GRT is the heavy hitter, Tayshawn Jackson's the lightning, and they're going to balance out to be a great unit. Now, we'll see how the carries kind of ebb and flow throughout the year, but this offense with Laomi and EJ and Raiden and Jace Atkins, like this is a good unit.
Yeah, it's a powerful offensive unit.
I think it was just like a matter of time for them before they started rolling in the second half. Like McMaster was up at half, and you kind of felt like, are they going to hold on? I don't know if they can, because you were just kind of sitting there waiting, knowing, yeah, Elgersma and co are going to open this thing up here at any moment. And 31 points in your opener, not a bad way to start.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to cut the tape on. There's going to be things that they want to retool, obviously, but you're right. 31 points in your opener, a week one
Is
game.
30 the magic number? Is 30 the magic number? Windsor's the only winning team from this first week that did not hit 30 points.
And they were close enough.
25.
They were close enough
25, yeah.
So let's move on. Last game in this one, the Western Mustangs, the Ottawa GGs in the nation's capital. Western picking up another 30-point win, like Wade said. It was 38-11 over the GGs. And this one, to me, I don't know how you feel about this one, Wade, but this one does not get done on the Western Mustangs side without Brian Garrity. Goes 5 for 6, hits 2 from 39 yards, goes 3 for 3 on his extra points. Western needs to hoist up their kicker here after this one, because Brian Garrity certainly had a day, and he helped them get the win in this one with 18 points there.
It was 18 indeed. Bit more in fantasy, right? Like we'll count them out.
Counting the yardage. Yeah.
Now, the Western offense looked like a team in week one, right? Like a lot of red zone or money zone, like that 30 to 20 to 40 yard range. A lot of inconsistencies, and that's fine. We know your playmakers are going to hit those over time. But 400 yards of total offense, 3 interceptions. Western did what Western does, and Ottawa kind of helped them out at the start and put their defense in a really tough spot. But biggest play, do you know where I'm going with this?
Pump block touchdown?
Nope. It was the missed field goal from Western. Denny Ferdinand goes to return the missed field goal, and Jackson Finley suplexes him into the turf.
Great special teams hit.
At that moment, I think it was like a 7-point game, and it was just like, Jackson Finley's, he's arrived. He's here this year. He's on the football field. And that was kind of the difference from the rest of the game on.
Yes, I mean, Jackson Finley certainly arrived on that hit. We'll clip that one in. We'll make sure to clip that one in where Wade was talking about it. But for me in this one, I mean, yeah, there were some things that I think left me a little curious after the game. But I think despite the 38-11 scoreboard at the end of this game, we are 5 Brian Garrity field goals and a punt block touchdown away from this one being a lot closer than it was. In terms of generating scoring offense for Western, what was there except for the defense playing pretty damn good and Brian Garrity kicking the lights out of the stadium?
I'll tell you what, 200
Seth Robertson
yards
with the 24-yarder. Yeah, no, Western did play really good.
There was Edwards and Yazbek 100 yards apiece, like that.
Yeah,
it didn't end up in 7s, but that's a great start to the year.
It is. It is. So I think there's some questions to go around, some retooling to be done. But that is the week that was for week 1 of the OUA season. We still do have our players of the week.
Quick mention, Charles Asselin is the best player on the Ottawa GG's offense. They need to give him the ball.
Hell of a ball player. Sorry, I can't believe that I left that out.
20 times a game he needs to be touching the ball on offense, not just return game.
Yes.
75-yard touchdown he made.
75-yarder? Yeah, absolutely. A stellar play from Charles.
I think he had another he had an 80-yard kick return as well. Like, yeah, his average is very skewed on his kickoff returns because he took the one out to the 1-yard line, but essentially call it 3 returns for 134 yards. Like, he had a good day touching the ball after the first play of the game.
Offensive playmaker, man,
get him the
ball player.
With that being said, players of the week. Also,
players of the week,
really good ball players. Special teams, you guessed it, Brian Garrity, Western Mustangs, like Connor said, 18